the heck? Do you all click? They all click. What? Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to show you guys how to use the fill command and what it's used for. I hope you enjoy. Now there's three parts to the fill command, main parts that you're going to want to learn. That is the x-axis, the y-axis, and the z-axis. And yeah, that's pretty much all you need to understand about that. So if you get into the fill command, you can see there's a option that says from. So also this little squiggly thing right here, that is just meaning the block that we're standing on. So if I were to fill my whole thing with this, it's going to do a stone block exactly where I'm standing. Also, you can see that it works in sets of 3. So this first set right here, that is from. So that's from that point to the next point, and it's going to fill that area filled in between. So, like if I wanted to make a box like that, I would do something like this, and it would do from here to here, and it's going to fill in all the edges using X, Y, and Z. So I'll just show you an example of what that looks like. And the second number right here, it's actually going to give you a pointer of what you're standing on. Sometimes it doesn't work though, so you do want to be careful about that. Don't trust it 100% of the time. And then stand on this one, and stone, and that will fill in that whole area for you, which is super useful when making houses on creative or mini games. I use this a lot in mini games. This is a super helpful tool. Everyone should know how to use the fill command. It is a lifesaver. So that's really what I'm going to be showing you. The other options are, you can do something like this, or you do all of these. But you can also add math to these as well. How it works is you go like that, -4, so that's going to be where I'm standing, and then -4 in the X position, and then where I'm standing, +5 in the Y position, and then where I'm standing, -4 in the Z position, and then so on and so forth. So this is going to make a small cube. If you can't tell already, click that, and it just made this little cube. Now I'm going to show you guys what the other things are as well. Now, as you've probably already figured out, title name right here, that's the title name of the block. So it pops up some options as you type. It'll give you things that start with the same letter. So if you don't know exactly what the ID of the item is, you can know. I'm also going to show you a couple of blocks that are secret blocks that not a lot of people know about. The first one I use a ton is air, and that's just air. It's just going to clear an area. Use that just to break blocks pretty much on the fill command. It's super helpful when doing that. Another thing you can do is deny. Now the deny block is actually really cool. So if I place a block on top of the deny block, anyone who is not creative and not operator cannot break the blocks above this block. So I use this in my mini games, especially in my survival worlds where I don't want to turn my players into adventure mode. I still want them to stay in survival mode just to make things easier for me. I just lay up this platform underneath all my mini games, and then they can't break anything, and that just makes it super useful for me. So I use a fill command for these deny blocks a lot. And then there's also the allow block, and that is going to allow people to place blocks, give them normal permission again. So you only need one layer, obviously, but this is just going to work for this block right here. It's not going to affect the blocks next to it. It's only going to affect it. Now obviously I'm an operator and creative, so I can edit it, but if I weren't both of those, then I wouldn't be able to. So allow will just make that normal, so then survival can then place on top of it and edit that. So those are super helpful blocks. Another block that you can use is the, oh, I guess you can use barrier as well. That is another block I use a ton. This is an invisible block that players can't see unless they're in creative mode and holding the barrier block in their hand. You've probably seen this one before. Super helpful, super useful. Another block that is secret that most people don't know about is the border block. There we go. I always forget the name of this. This is the border block. This works like a fence. And you can see it emits this like red stuff. But this pretty much makes it so anyone who is not opt or in survival mode, actually, I don't think you need to be opt to cross through this. I think you just have to be in creative mode. And then, but if you're not, then you won't be able to leave this area. So I can do something like this and lay blocks on top of it, or place it underneath the surface like this, and then do a rim like this, and then if they were to spawn, obviously if that was filled all the way around, they wouldn't be able to leave this area. They'd be stuck right here, and they'd have to teleport out. So I also do, just for extra protection, I actually use both the barrier blocks and the border blocks just to make sure that they can't leave. Also, a good thing to know is border blocks will they'll allow entities to walk through them, like throwing entities. So you could throw a trident through this, or an ender pearl, or stuff like that. Mobs won't be able to walk through here, but you can throw like snowballs and arrows and stuff like that. So just, if players have ender pearls in their inventory, there is a way to escape this. That's normally why I do the double protection with the barrier blocks, because it's an actual block and they can't break through this. It's an actual block. They can't throw something through it. So yeah, okay. So on to the other block that is a secret block, light block. And some of you have probably heard of this block but don't know how it works. This block works by the ID. So if I want a 0 light source, I would do 0. If I want a 1 block light source, it goes all the way up to 15. That's the strongest light source. So I do 15, and then if I did, it actually won't work because it's not on a block, but here, the ID. So that is there we go. So that's going to do, so we have a shadow right here. And then you can place the 0 light block right here. And then it goes again, you can do like 1. And that's just a small light. You can't even tell it's there. See, that's how small it is. Anyways, you can do light blocks as well. I think that's it. I might come back to this. Okay, so now to the data, which actually the light block brings us straight into that. The fill command has a data. So this is mainly used for blocks with colors, such as wool, and that will just change the color. So 0, everything starts at 0. So if you're doing any other block and you want to switch to these commands, you're just going to type 0. That's just going to do the base block. So for wool, it's white wool. You can also, I think it goes all the way up to like 12 or something. I could be wrong. Maybe it goes higher. Anyways, you can play around with that. And it goes through all the colors. Same thing with concrete. Anything just as it's a colored block. So then the next items that you can do is destroy, hollow, keep, outline, and replace. Destroy and outline just hollow and outline are pretty much the same thing, same with destroy and replace. So I'm only going to go with talk about the destroy, hollow, and keep. Just because outline is pretty much the same thing as hollow, and replace is pretty much the same thing as destroy. I've never used outline and replace ever, so I'm not going to go over it. So destroy, that is pretty much just going to break anything in this area. So you can probably see right here, I did this command, then this command, then this command, so it's breaking into it. Whereas if I did the keep command, and I laid that command, then it's going to do the opposite. And it's not going to intrude in blocks that are already there. It's going to just do what you said and then leave the other blocks that are there alone. So when you're first starting commands to instill, just because how powerful these commands are and you can mess things up, ruin things, I would stick with keep just as a safety precaution. And it's not that hard to type, just so you don't delete anything, because you can't undo these commands once you've done them. So just make sure if you're ever worried about something, always do keep, and that way it won't break anything, and you won't have to really worry about it too much. And then the last one is hollow, and that, as you can probably guess, will hollow the inside. Now, this is the best when making like mini houses in creative or whatever. Obviously, you don't want your houses perfectly square, but still, I actually like my houses perfectly square just because it goes with the aesthetic of Minecraft. But I know people who are good at building would know that they don't want their houses exactly square. So yeah, that's pretty much all of it for the fill command. This is a very amazing command. I use it all the time in my mini games. Also, I'm going to show you another trick that you can do, and that is how to do a perimeter like this. So what you're first going to want to do is you do your fill command, and then type your squiggly lines, 3 of them, and then we'll just do stone for this test, and we're gonna go out by 5. We're gonna go out by 5, and go out by the other direction 5, out by the other direction, and then click that. And that's gonna make a nice area. I gotta stand in the center for this to work. I'm pretty sure that's the center. Alright, so now that you stand in the center, then you just come right here and you change the stone to air. So this is where the air command comes in handy. And you're going to subtract 1 number from every, so if this was like a 30 by 30 platform, you just subtract it to 29. All the numbers to 29. Click that, and that's just going to do a nice perimeter. I use that a lot as well. And the last thing, these do have limits to them, unfortunately. So if I were to place a block right here, and then I wanted to, there we go, too many blocks in the specified area, there is a limit of 30 to 100, 768. So remember that they're not unlimited. You don't have an unlimited amount of area that you can fill. There is a cap to it. So if you want to do something that big, you might have to do it in small chunks. Hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, put it in the comments below. If you have any commands that you would like to learn more about, also put that in the description so I know what to make the next command video about. That would help out a ton.